everyone, this is Jessica Brigden of Jess B Creative Cardiology, and today I'm going to show you how to make a fun technique card using the Joseph's Coat Emboss Resist technique using the Delicate Dahlias A Bration stamp set. And this is for a card that I created for my Creative Cardiology Team August blog hop featuring A Bration items from A Bration 2.0, as I'm calling it here, in August and September 2021. And so today the project we're going to make uses lots of color, and it's a bit inspired by the pattern of one of my favorite little summer dresses. So we have a navy background, we've got some fun calypso coral, some bits of pink, so I'm going to be tying in some melon mambo, and then we've got our yellows. So I've got some So Saffron and Daffodil here as well. So I think you're really going to enjoy this. We are using a basic white thick cardstock background that is 5.5 by 8.5. Now when you're working with basic white thick cardstock as your background, you do want to make sure that you score it. So I have pre-scored this here at the 4.25 mark along the long side here. All right, so we are going to go ahead and fold our card base in half. We're building from the bottom here. So just go ahead, folds nicely because it's pre-scored. Then we have a layer of Night of Navy that is 4 by 5.25. We are going to adhere this directly to our card base. And then we will also need a layer of regular basic white that is 3.75 by 5, and this layer of basic white is what we will be adding all of our fun colors onto. So I do recommend that you use something here to protect your work surface. So I pull in a piece of chipboard backing from one of our specialty papers. You can see I've got lots of mess on there. All right, so we are starting with our basic white. Now with our Delicate Dahlias, this is a two-step stamp where you have your bold image, your more background, and then you've got your detail. So we're first going to stamp with our bold and then overlap it with the detail. So I do have both of these on here back to back on one of my e-blocks. That does seem to work best. So we're going to start with our yellow, our So Saffron. And it does help if your pads aren't overly juicy, all right, because this is a distinctive design stamp, so you want to make sure you actually get some of that detail. So I'm going to step that up towards the upper right corner. Okay, so that was our Daffodil Delight, excuse me, or So Saffron. And then we're going to stamp over that with our Daffodil Delight here. Okay, so that was the bold. Now we're using our detailed image and going right over that. Okay, so kind of look in the spot where the leaves match up a little bit here. Okay, and then we are going to go right over that. Okay, so you can see we've got our tone on tone going on. So we've got our yellow. The next one we're going to come in is with our pink. So I'm going to stamp the bold with polished pink, and we'll go over that with melon mambo. Now because we are using the same stamps multiple times, I am going to clean these in between each color here so we don't have any color transfer. So gently stamping here on the polished pink. This one is quite juicy, so I'm actually going to just stamp that off lightly. Okay, and then come in here with our polished pink. Oh, let's see. Come right in here. There we go. All right, and then we will go over that with our melon mambo in the detail. So you can see how my polished pink was quite juicy, and it ends up a little bit mottled there. So definitely important to stamp that off. Okay, so we'll come in here with our detailed stamp in the Melon Mambo. All right, nice and bright. And since we've got our yellows, we've got our pinks, next we need kind of a orangey color. So I'm going to go with some Calypso Coral here. So a little bit of orangey pink. Again, cleaning my stamp in between. Okay, so doing our background and the Calypso Coral. Okay, and then we are going to come in and do the detailed. I'm going to use Poppy Parade for this, kind of embracing that kind of orangey red color. Okay, so again, all right, I'm just trying to find where I want. There we go. Line this up. Okay. All right, beautiful. All right, so you can see we've got lots of color here. Now we need some leaves to go along with this. So I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz and Garden Green. And again, we have a two-step going on with our background and then our detail. So we're going to stamp our background leaves in Pear Pizzazz first. All right, so we'll come in here, add a few of these. Add a little bit of green here and there. Okay, and then we'll go over that with our detailed stamp in Garden Green. So this is already becoming a really pretty, fun background here. Okay. And again, just going right over that. Adds a nice little detail to it. Okay, gorgeous. You could leave it as is and it would be beautiful, and you could mount it on your card just like so if you like the white background. But I do want to show you a cool technique for this. So I'm going to make sure I clean off my stamps really well. We are going to use our bold background stamps with some Versamark ink. And essentially what we're going to do is emboss these stamp designs and use them to protect the color that we have, so that we can then go all over and create a night of navy background by brushing on the color with our blending brushes. All right, so the way we're going to do that is take our Versamark ink. Actually, I've got the leaf stamp in my hand, so we'll ink that up. Make sure that this time you do want to make sure it's nice and juicy. Go right over the whole design, everywhere that you've stamped a leaf. Okay, and then you do want to work fairly quickly because you don't want your Versamark to dry while you're doing this. So the next time we are using the background of the Dahlia, and you can see how I've got lots of ink on there. Again, this is going to go over the whole. You're going to stamp that over each flower. Okay, so go over the whole thing here. All right, so the Versamark is a clear, pretty much a clear ink. You can kind of see it picked up a little bit of the color from my stamp that wasn't perfectly clean. Gives it a little bit of a kind of a pink tint on there, but anywhere that we stamped in Versamark is going to hold our embossing powder. So I am using clear powder, and we're gently going to dip this in our tray here. And you can see as we tip it that the powder only sticks where the Versamark was, which is pretty cool. Okay, so you do want to make sure that you've got a little tray or paper or something to kind of carry off your excess powder here. And just give it a little bit of a tap. All right, so now we are going to bring in our heat tool. Now this does get pretty warm on your fingers. You want to make sure you move your embossing powder out of the way. You don't want to melt that. And use perhaps some toaster tongs or something to hold onto your paper to keep it from flying away, as well as to protect your fingers from burning because it gets pretty hot. So we're going to turn on our heat tool here. Keep it about 1 inch or so away. And then as it heats up, you can see those crystals start to change. And everywhere that our clear powder was, will have this nice, shiny, embossed detail. Heat embossing is one of the most amazing techniques. It's really cool. Alright, so we're just moving it all around. You don't want to hold it in one single spot because you don't want to scorch your paper. Alright, see everywhere that is shiny. See every little bit. And alright, looks like we got it all. Okay, I apologize for the noise of the heat tool there, but you can see this is pretty amazing as it is. All right, so now what we're going to do is take our Night of Navy ink and our blending brushes, and I'm going to just use a circular motion on my ink pad, starting off here, and we're going to come in, and you can see that that navy ink is filling in our white areas here. All right, so the reason that we did our Versamark and embossing is like I said, it helps protect the color. And so as we are applying our ink here, yes, it looks like it's turning everything blue, but actually the ink, the navy ink will not stick really to the embossed areas. So it is helpful. You're going to want to make sure that you've got a paper towel or something handy so that we can wipe off any excess ink. You do want to watch your fingers because they do get they will turn a little bit blue or whatever color that you are using for this. All right, so we're just filling in some of that white space. You can keep applying it until it gets as dark as you like. All right, looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll close that up. Then we'll take our paper towel and then gently rub all over this. All right, that will help to clean up any residual ink that is laying on top of our embossing. All right, because you can see how it is picking up some of that excess ink there. All right, so that's where you get it's emboss resist, but the Joseph coat comes in because you have all those beautiful colors there behind the embossing. Okay, so we have just created our beautiful background, and I think that looks pretty well inspired. It's amazing how inspiration is all around us. All right, so we're going to take this panel and adhere it to our card base. We're letting the design speak for itself and keeping this fairly simple here. Let's go this way. Well, let's see, which way do we want to go? I guess we can do that. Just decide which way you like your pattern. There's no right or wrong way to it. All right, so to keep it simple, we do want to add a little greeting here. So I am pulling in my double oval punch. Love that punch. We need a little bit of navy cardstock here. We're going to punch our scalloped oval. All right, and then for our greeting, we'll use this smaller, just a regular oval, and this is a 1 1/4 piece of basic white scrap that I've got there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use, I think I'm going to pull in some of that Melon Mambo color for our greeting. And we've got a few nice choices here. I'm going to go with the Thank You Kindly. And just stamp that on our oval. Now, if it's easier for you, you could also stamp that first and then punch it out. All right, we'll apply our adhesive to the back. Layer it onto our scalloped oval. Now we just need a couple of dimensionals here. And actually, I'm going to apply some adhesive on here. I want to do a little ribbon technique on the back, just so that it's not so navy on navy. So I'm going to pull in some of our gold satiny ribbon. And what I'm going to do is make sure the end sticks out here on the left. All right, kind of loop it around. Pull this straight across. Loop it on this side as well. And then give myself a little bit of excess here on the end. Okay, so I just wove that around the back, just back and forth here. Then we'll take a couple of dimensionals. This will also help hold that ribbon in place. All right, so I am using 3. Okay, stick this right down here towards the bottom of our card. And you can trim up your ends if you need to, but I kind of like the way that looks. And for a bit of a finishing touch, I'm going to pull in our holiday rhinestones because we have this nice navy blue color on here. And just add a couple of little gems here to our sentiment label. All right, kind of make sure, it's another reason to make sure your fingers are clean after working with all that color. And there you have it. So we have a beautiful Joseph's Coat Embossed Resist Technique card using the Delicate Dahlias. This set is free with a $100 US purchase during the months of August and September 2021 as part of Stampin' Up's A Bration. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and we'll definitely check out the others that our Creative Cardiology team have made. Again, if you want, you can visit the full details on my blog at JessBCreativeCardiology.com. Thank you so much. Happy stamping.